Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixed in transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixed in transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Keeps a positive spin. What Kate's doing, the Mickey has her name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim, I gotta smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jimbo always keeps a positive spin. What Kate's doing, the Mickey has her name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. Perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mix and transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jim always keeps a positive spin. What Kate's doing, the Mickey has her name dropping. Gets you out of the blue and let you stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. Always keeps a positive spin. What Kate's doing, the Mickey has her name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Perfect Match on this special mental health awareness show. It was a show that was planned for a couple of weeks' time, but when I say my life is ridiculously hectic at the minute, that is an understatement. So we popped one in today to make sure that we definitely get a checkup in before Christmas, see how everyone's doing. So I hope everyone's okay today. Jimbo, how are you doing?
Yeah, still flued up, but
you've got a little bit of the snivels. Stop saying you've got the flu. I've been blowing my nose all day. Do you see me moaning? I got up, brushed, cut your hair, shaved your beard, changed the sheets, done the washing. Oh, I've got a little bit of a snivels, i.e. I've got the flu. Man, well, I'm not going to say man up because that's not the right thing to say today, but I'm going to say stop whinging about flu. It's a cold. I don't even think
flu's terrible.
It's snivels. It's just the snivels. Honestly. But, oh, excuse me. Let's see who we've got in the chat today. I did put a post out saying if anyone's struggling would like to comment under the post of the community page, or if you message in here and I'll find a way of getting the link over to you one way or the other. But we've got Shemtown in the house saying, morning Princess Kate and Sir Jimbo, hope you're both well. To be honest, I'm feeling a little bit stressed today. I'm not going to lie. I am feeling a little bit under it. But, you know, can't complain. Shem says, got Tesco's coming between 1 and 2. My brother had my nephew's Christmas present coming, but between 1 and 2. And my mum's doctor said she's definitely coming home today with patient carrier ambulance, but don't know what time. So I'm
let's hope it's not between 1 and 2, Shemtown.
Yeah, blimey hell. But on the bright side, the pop-up Christmas tree I bought from Wilco looks actually okay, surprisingly. Well, that's good. See, it's always good to look on the bright side. And there you go. And Johnny has had one nightmare of a morning. So come in here, Johnny, grab a cup of tea and just chill for a bit. Hopefully it'll bring you down a little bit, not in a negative way, but I mean level you out a little bit. Good afternoon to you, Graham, over at Spurs at GCTV. Hope you're well. Big up Andrew Gregory, always a massive supporter of anything to do with mental health. Good to see you. Afternoon, Carol. Hope you're well. Lovely to see you. Big up Chelsea boy. Hope you're well as well. We have Stuart727 saying, afternoon, Kate, Jim, and everyone in chat. Good to see you. Big up Niall as well. Good to see you. El Dante coming in with a super chat saying much love and care to all of you out there. All of you out there that are going through difficult times. Life is a shit at times, but everything will pass. Take care. Thank you so much for the super chat, El Dante, and wise words, which is why I sort of said try and look on the bright side, because no matter how bad things get, it will all work out in the end. That's the only way I can say it, because we've been through our fair share. And as Jimbo's favourite saying in life is, you never know what's around the corner, right, Jimbo?
Yep.
So
Things don't say shit for long. They always turn around in the end.
Yeah, it's a shitty cliche to say keep your chin up or like you never know what's around the corner, but honestly, it's never as bad as you think. But thank you, El Dante, for your support. Good afternoon, Rinketic. Hope you're well. Nick Fadley's here saying Tyson Fury went through mental health issues and overcame it eventually. Yeah, I think, Tyson Fury, just from the Spurs team, you've got Richarlison, you've got Dele Alli. I mean, there's probably thousands upon thousands upon thousands of sports people who go through it. We know for a fact that Robin Williams and Robbie Williams both went through it really badly. Caroline Flack. There's so many people in the eye that go through it, and it's important that people know that there's somewhere they can go to talk, whether it be here, whether it be one of the organisations that are running along the bottom of the screen. Just don't want anyone to feel like they're on their own, which was the reason that Mickey set up the Legend on the Bench charity, for that exact reason. Johnny says he's got his Rosie and a cig. Kate and Jimbo, love you both. We love you too. Big up Joey Barton says, as it's Christmas, can we not call it mental health? That would be brilliant, actually. Very clever. But you can be our mental health if you want. So Jimbo, knowing my luck, everyone will show up at the same time at 3 p.m.
That's the way things go.
It's like yesterday, I had a couple of days ago, I had a real scream up. So we're waiting for this table to be delivered for Jim. And they kept saying it was coming. And then they messaged me and said it's lost. So I said, right, okay, I'll have a refund. I'll order a new one. So yesterday, the new one came. And today, the original one's just arrived. So now we've got 2 bloody tables. So, it's just how things go. Good afternoon to you. Just a harmless potato. Hope you're well. Also, Paul G is here. Good afternoon to you. And Joey saying he is a mental health. I was just looking at some stats this morning. I know stats, I'm not a fan of stats normally, but according to Fourth with Life, who did a survey, 15.5% of UK adults say that their mental health is poor at the moment, or the worst that it's ever been. And as of March this year, just over 1.9 million people were in contact with mental health services in the UK, with 1.2 of those in adult services. According to Spill, 14.7% of people experience mental health problems in the workplace, with 1 in 3 saying mental health support in the workplace is inadequate. That's quite frightening in this day and age, that people don't feel supported in the workplace, because it's such a massive issue. Bless you, Spurs GCTV, with another super chat saying for the calls. Thank you so much. Once I get paid from YouTube and take off their percentage and my the cost of my StreamYard, that's all I'm going to take off. This will all be going to Legend on the Bench, and Mickey is absolutely delighted. It all helps. Every penny helps. Good afternoon, Daniel Coys. Leo here. Big up, Leo. One of the people that always checks in on me and makes sure I'm okay. Coover's another one. Oh, speak of the devil. Big up. Oh, I can come on if you need more guests. I definitely have experiences I can share that might help people, but as you know, it's difficult to talk about it a lot of the time. Coover, it is entirely up to you. I will send you the link and you decide. I've got Brian Daigle coming on at 10 past. If you want to come on, you will always be welcome. If you don't feel like you want to come on, then you don't have to come on. It's as easy as that. There's no pressure from anybody.
Be nice to have you on, Coover.
Always nice to have anywhere.
Because Coover, you do know I'm the one that thinks about you, don't you, more than Kate, as you found out yesterday.
Coover's my Jeff. That's all I'm saying. Good afternoon, Lynn Simpson. Hope you're well. Good to see you, my lovely. we've got Joey Barton saying, I think it's tough to say. I think it's tough to say it's poor at the moment. I'm only speaking for myself here, but my mental state is proper up and down. Some days it's great, and I want to shut myself away from the world. Yeah, I hear you. That's kind of how I feel a lot of the time. And also, we have got Andrew Gregory saying the lack of sunlight and Christmas have a huge effect on people's mental well-being. Well, there is seasonal affective disorder, which is where people get depressed. My sister kind of suffers with that a bit. As soon as the autumn and winter come, she gets really down and depressed. It's not something I notice seasonally for myself, but she definitely suffers with it. But we've got a massive advocate of mental health in the house, Mr. Daigle. How are you, Brian? And how's everything going there?
First of all, good morning to both of you wonderful people and everyone that's in the chat. Yeah, listen, life is very, very good here in Canada, but I'm actually delighted that you've done this today. Today is actually a very, very hard day for me. Today is one that was on the heartstrings. I moved to Canada, obviously, December the 1st, 7 years ago. And then 10 days later, my grandma died. And I had to fly straight back. And because of the time difference, trying to get a flight, trying to get back, I didn't get back to say she'd passed before I even got on the flight. So one of the biggest things about living so far away is obviously should things like this happen. So today is always a hard day for me. So when I realised that you're doing it today, there was just no way. I won't. Like I said to you two, what you two are doing and what other channels try to do, or anyone trying to do, even the people in your chat right now. This subject means more to me than anything. Anything that we talk about, and once again, it's just brilliant that you two are taking the time out to do it again. So there was no doubt I would come and be with you two.
And we appreciate it, Brian, always. That's terrible. I live in Lincoln. My gramps lived in Kent. So the day before he died, he was sitting up in bed and chatting to everyone and telling everyone what he remembers about, like, my sister being a kid. And my sister rang me and said, "Oh, he's so upbeat." And I said, "All right, I will come down." By the second day, she said, "You've got to come down," and he died. But I missed that last day of him sitting up and talking. He could barely speak. So I hear what you're saying, because I will never forgive myself. And I've really got nothing to feel guilty for, because I spoke to him every day of his life and I saw him a lot. But you can't help how you feel.
Well, you know what it is, Kate? When I left, she was in a private residential, really nice nursing home that looked after her, brilliant care. And when I said goodbye to her, I knew there's a chance that the next time I see her could be because of this. But she just shut down. She was just shutting down when I was saying goodbye, not because of me, but she was shutting down. And this is the thing: when I flew out here December the 1st, and I had to get a return ticket to show immigration that I weren't here because my visa hadn't been approved. So I had like a 5-month open return, and I think I paid about £400 for it. To get me and Alana back 10 days later on the same day flight was £800 each way.
Wow.
You got to remember it's Christmas time and everything, but then you think, and listen, this happens to people around the world, people that are in Australia that need to get to America or wherever it is. And obviously you got to remember, when I think I heard this at 8 a.m. my time, so it would have kicked off or all happened about 1 p.m. your time. Then you got to try and get a flight. Then you got to book it and try and find it. Then you got to pack. Then you got to get there 3 hours before. Then it's 8 hours to get there. It's these times, obviously, for anyone that goes through this around the world at any point with any family member or friends, you could miss that last moment. And you know what? The way I left it with my grandma will always be a better way than if I'd got there right at the end and seen her. My image I have in my head of my grandma is always saying goodbye to her, listening to her singing Frank Sinatra, as opposed to her. I'm obsessed with Frank because of him. Because of him, I'm obsessed with. Because of her, sorry. And I'd rather have that image than if I'd got there towards the end. But again, this is what happens. It's part of the world, and obviously,
look, Brian. All I'm going to say to you, right, is it could have been. Look, I was in a snooker hall, and my nan was ill, and she lived in Roehampton, and I lived in Kent, so that's like an hour away. And
Yep.
they called me and said she'd been rushed in, and she was asking for me. I was her favourite by far. I didn't make it in an hour. I missed her by about 5 minutes. So it's
It happens.
you could be an hour away. You could be across the other side of the world. If it's not to be, it's not to be. You know.
Oh, it is. I bet. Do you know one of the most amazing stories about? Obviously, death is a tragic thing for anyone. But my grandpa's and my grandma's husband, they were married for 65 years. 65 years. And
Wow.
a few Christmases before, my grandpa had a major stroke. Major. They'd moved into this nursing home because my grandpa couldn't keep up with her dementia. He was in his mid-90s doing everything for her. He wore himself to the ground. Idolised the woman. And then he had his stroke. They knew they weren't. We all knew he weren't coming out. But my grandma couldn't. Thought, get up, get better. And then, right near the end, at one point, my grandma said, "It's okay, Gerald. Go to sleep now. I'll be with you. Whatever." Gave him a kiss goodbye. My mum drove grandma home. The second my grandma was in her home, safe and sound, and my mum got to her car to drive back, a call came saying, "Get your ass to the hospital quick." He waited until he knew my grandma was home, safe, relaxed. It's amazing what things happen. And like you were saying with your grandma, Jim, it's like I said, this is just a day. It's just hard to deal with it sometimes because I keep reliving today, 7 years ago.
Yeah, but you can't blame yourself, Brian, because it's just.
You can't.
You
I
can't.
don't. There's no blame. There's no blame. There's anger and regret that I didn't get there.
Yeah, because your nan, your grandma would have wanted you to be where you are because you're happy there. It's like when we was moving to Lincoln, Kate's granddad. A lot of Kate's family was against it, mainly because of the sort of person I was at the time. But her granddad said to her, "Go be with him and sort your lives out. It's the best thing you can do." So, it's just one of them things. As I said, I was an hour away and I missed it by 5 minutes.
You know what, Jim? You look at it as well, and you and I talk about it like this, and Kate and other people can. We've got to remember, we're quite fortunate. In the way, we're quite fortunate because obviously when we've just come out of COVID, there were people that couldn't even say goodbye, couldn't even go into a hospital and see them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like left the home or left the workplace or wherever they were, and you didn't get anything. You didn't get a goodbye. You didn't get a.
Yeah.
And I often think about that mental health on people must be. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it must. I can't imagine not having said goodbye. Because my granddad was my everything. I spoke to you about my gramps before, Brian. He brought me up, so he was like a dad and a granddad. But unfortunately, I have a lot of regret because we moved up here, and there was things like they did a surprise party for his 90th, and I couldn't go because I was working. And now I think, why did I bother working up? That was more time I could have spent with him. And I'll get over that, how I feel. It's just.
Grandparents are the greatest. Grandparents are the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah.
They are the greatest gift in the world. Obviously, you talk about your kids and obviously, but the grandparents. I only got to see 3. My dad's dad died before my mum even got to meet him. But my God, did I have the 3 greatest grandparents I could ever have wished for.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a joy. But I missed the first few minutes what you were talking about. So what have I missed so far?
We wasn't really talking about anything specific. I was putting some stats up about the state of people's mental health in this sort of day and age. This was the next one. 1 in 6 people in England experience a common mental health disorder, including anxiety, depression, PTSD, phobias, OCD, and panic disorder. I mean, I, for one, suffer with depression, anxiety, and panic disorder. There are 3 out of those. Yeah,
I've got the phobia thing, but it's not something I never have to deal with in snakes, so it don't affect my mental health because I don't live anywhere with. That's never going to come into it. I've started. Do you know what? I've started to have OCDs. Ilana's, but I'm starting to get. I have to have all the wardrobes shut when we go to bed. Like if there's a drawer a little bit open, it drives me. I've got some weird OCDs that are creeping in. Some really weird ones. But I don't. Do you know what? I know it can affect some people really, really badly. I've seen what it can do.
Yeah.
For me, and I
Yeah,
don't mean this, it's become like a quirk of mine as opposed to a. But I do understand. I'm not downplaying what it is for other people. I've seen people have to switch the lights on 3 or 4, just some stuff that they literally like. I have to do this, or but yeah, all the others are pretty much something I have suffered with.
Yeah, I only started suffering with panic attacks after my gramps died. It just literally came on like that, and I take medication for it. I've tried coming off the medication, but as soon as I come off it, it comes back. It's horrible. Big up Nige and Rosie as well. But yeah, I mean, Jim's quite lucky. He doesn't really experience anything like that anymore. But it says more women than men are currently struggling with mental health. 18.5% of women to 12.5% of men. I do wonder, Brian, if that's true or whether it's just that women are more open about it.
I think it's both. I mean, I look back at my time. I was back in a mental health unit and section and everything in 2004. 2004. And I would say it was literally like 90% men, 10%. But obviously, that mental health has come in a lot. It's more recognisable. It's more detectable. It's more spoken about with shows like this, TV coverage, whatever. So you're right. Women are a lot more open about these things.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think the workplace has been a huge thing because workplace has become very, very open to it. They've had to.
It has, but this was the stat that I put up. 14.7% of people experience mental health problems in the workplace, with 1 in 3 saying that they feel that their support is inadequate, which I thought was quite incredible, really.
So the worst experience I had. Oh, look who it is! Look who it is! Do you know what?
My favourite bear.
Honestly, what a man! I love this man more than life itself. Honestly, big up Cougar.
Let's not go overboard.
I was about to say big up Cougar Hun. No, but I'll tell you one thing. You mentioned it about work. I'll say this quickly, then I'll let Cougar come in. People know I used to work for Booking.com, and I loved that job, everything about it. And then they shut the office because of COVID. And the first job I got after that, and I'm still heartbroken from it, in all honesty, was working for a online casino. Now, my first addiction was fruit machines, only in the pubs, not bad or anything, but I took it I was going to be a team leader, and my job was the customer service team leader. And I said, listen, I can help you with everything, help grow the team. And they said, some of your work is dealing with addicts. If they call in and say, I've got a problem, I need you to cut me off. And I said, do you know what? I don't know how I can deal with that. I can try and help them, but it might trigger something with me or whatever. And they then moved me away from customer service and made me deal with addicts constantly. And seeing that they were over here and mainly in America, obviously they don't pay for health insurance. It's not like the NHS or OHIP over here. I was hearing people were paid for their life-changing surgery, like heart surgery or anything. The addiction had got them, and they'd spent it all and they want their money back. And it triggered PTSD. I had to quit the job. I was like, I can't deal with this. I went to bed one night. I was shaking like a leaf and crying my eyes out uncontrollably because it was just literally not that I wanted to. It didn't make me want to have a drink, a gamble, or do a line of coke. I was just like, I can't deal with this. I can't. It's triggering me. So the workplace could be a very, very key part of it.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. Kuva, how are you feeling? Are you feeling better?
I've still got a cough, but it's happening less often, so it's small blessings.
You sound better than you did.
I'll see if I can. Yeah, I'll see if I can struggle through this one. I was tempted not to come on because when Brian Daigle's talking about this subject, it's best to let him go.
You're my partner in crime with this. You are just as big with this as I am, mate. Don't always you and me.
We talked about this a few times, Brian. We should be setting up a business for helping people out. But yeah, it's really always a difficult subject to talk about. I mean, I think Brian's finding it easier because he's now talked about it so much. It's easy to just spill out the words, but for a lot of us, it's still that it's fighting against that taboo part of it, especially as a bloke. And that's basically what's ruined my life, and it has ruined my life. I mean, if I go back to the cause, what really kicked off my major part of my depression, I had that all through my teens anyway. Partly schooling and bullying issues until I found football, and then realised I can hurt people back, which helped me a lot. But it all came to one event when I was in my teens, and it was like my first proper girlfriend. And I'd got this absolute whirlwind type romance, and when you go absolutely head over heels and somebody just in a few weeks, that happened to me. But then unfortunately I lost her, and we had a bike accident, and she went and I didn't. So I just went through this period of guilt, self-loathing. I was completely self-destructive. I would be going out to basically look to get myself beaten to death by people. I'd provoke people. I'd drunkenly. I even picked on a rugby team. Stupid stuff that you look back and why was I doing it? But then I realised I was struggling to deal with the pain, and the thing I wanted to come on here most to talk about is what I did that was so wrong, and it's the typical thing that we do as blokes, and that's we bury it, we push it deep down within, and just say, I'll deal with this, not a problem. I said nothing to anybody, but what was happening in the meantime is slowly, one by one, I was pushing away my family, my friends, especially my friends. They even said to me, "You're distancing yourself. You're pushing us all away." I didn't want any of it. I was blinkered. I was down the road to oblivion. I didn't care about anything else. Eventually, it got down to the point where there's only two of my friends left, my two best friends, and even they couldn't cope. They stuck by me through my stupid years of alcohol and drug abuse. I did it to the point where I felt ashamed when I woke up in the mornings, just because of what I'd done the day before. Brian will know that one really well. I know it well. But eventually I even pushed them away. I just had to go down this different route. I don't know why. It was all about me. It's this self-focus. I couldn't talk to anybody about it. People tried to organise counselling for me. My parents did especially. I went to one bit of counselling for drug abuse and didn't go again. I thought I was going to cope with it all. Eventually, I kind of it eased over the years, but it was just running out of money that did it. That was probably the best thing that happened to me. Couldn't go out and get wrecked every single day. I wasn't getting through 3 bottles of vodka a day like I did at one point.
Wow.
The first thing in the morning, I wasn't thinking I've got to have a drink. It was I'm skint. I can't have a drink. It kind of helped in a way, but anyway, to talk about the pushing people away and not talking to people. I got to the low point where my one remaining friend, a girl named Tammy, had 3 kids, thought the world of them. She was like family to me, and so were the kids. And she unfortunately died. Had a respiratory problem, left the 3 kids. Fortunately, she's got a really big family, so the kids were fine. But I felt guilty because she had now gone, and I was feeling bad for myself rather than for the kids and for her, because that was my last little lifeline. And that's the point where I knew I should have been talking to people, because I hit rock bottom then. I very nearly got myself killed. I woke up in hospital. My parents were both there. I saw the look on my mum's face, and it changed me forever. So I started then opening up and saying what I needed to say, and trying to explain to people. And it's still difficult doing it. I'm starting to tear up now. I didn't want to do this, but bollocks to it. It's not hiding this sort of shit is what got me in problems in the first place. So I was struggling through all of this, saying nothing. Eventually, with this, it wasn't even counselling. Talking to my parents was a massive boon. My dad is an amazing bloke. I thought he was going to be really pissed off at me, but he wasn't. He was mega supportive, and I didn't. They were there all along, and I just didn't see it. But I thought I'd got through this period. I'd survived it. That was the objective number one. Over time, my dad passed away. I wasn't sad about it because I'd now talked to him about everything. There were no regrets. That was a positive thing about when he went. So then I decided what I'm going to do with my life as depression started kicking in again, because it always does. I decided I'm just going to look after my mum for the rest of my life. As soon as she's gone, I can just go. Which is a pathetic way to live your life, but it seemed like what I wanted to do at the time. So I did that. Thing is, out of the blue, a couple of years before Mum did pass away, I met my wife, and things turned around. I found happiness again. I've had to make a whole new group of friends with her friends, basically, and family, who are fantastic. And things were going well. Had a couple of kids who I loved to bits. But that creeping sadness, the guilt, the regrets, the pain, it was all still there. And I couldn't talk to her either. I buried things down again, still couldn't talk to her. So when she got into a state of depression after having the kids, she tried talking to me, and I just wasn't there. I couldn't handle it. We got to the point where we're having little arguments, and I'm just having to walk away, get out and walk it off, come back and just shove it to the side like it doesn't matter. So I basically pushed her away as well. And it's all because all of this, I've lost my friends, my family, lost my wife, and all because I can't talk to people. And it's taken 10 years after breaking up that I've realised that's what happened. I used to blame her for everything. It wasn't her fault. It was my fault. I just couldn't see it. If I just talked to her, we could have probably sorted things out. I know we could have sorted things out, but it's there. It's just because it's so damn hard to talk to people. It's the one thing I'm going to stress to anybody. No matter how crap your life is going, there are people there that will listen. There are people there that have the right words to say. And even if they don't have those words to say, they will know to get you professional help for it. You are not, no matter what's going on, you're not truly alone. You might feel it, but just take that one brave step and just take the blinkers off. Have a look around. There is more in life than just what you're going through. That's basically what I wanted to get out last time I came on one of these streams, but it's difficult. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. No, you carry on.
I forgot what I was just going to cap it off with them, but it was just the fact that we have a lot of little support groups around there. Brian and I are involved with a lot of people and in the community that have been having problems. Some have made brilliant progress. Some, unfortunately, one in particular we lost a couple of years back. You can't help everybody, but just being there, just knowing you're not alone, and keep thinking at the back of your mind when people are coming on and opening up on all these streams and we share little things that have gone on. Just remember the goal is to get yourself some professional help. Friends online can help, but we're not experts. We and listen to people if they're telling you you need to go and see somebody. Don't just brush it off, because I am telling you from experience, if you keep pushing it down and ignoring it, you will ruin your life. I've thrown away 25 years now of before coming to this point where I've got something to live for again. The kids are little lifesavers. I always call them that. I definitely wouldn't be around if they weren't around. So that gave me a focus and something just build around. All you've got to do is find that one part of your life that's worth being there for, and then just build the blocks around it. You can have something worthwhile. I have my ups and downs still. Some days I feel like I can't do anything. I can't do simple bits of paperwork I need to do or make a phone call that I needed to do. I don't feel like it. And it gets brushed off like, just snap out of it was the usual thing to say to people back in the day. But you can't. And there'll be a lot of people watching this stream and on the stream that know this. It's not something you just have a choice over. It's grabbed you. That darkness at the back of the mind, it has got its claws into you. It's not going to let go. All you can do is try and ease through it and focus on something other than that until it becomes deep in the background. It's always there, though. Certainly for me, I know that's the same for a lot of people. But there we go then. Anyway, got through it. Yay.
You did incredible.
That. Yeah, you did. It made me cry, but that's nothing unusual. I cry at everything. But Hoover, I wouldn't.
When we can see the corner.
I knew that story before you told me before, but to hear you telling it like you told it, it just you're far stronger than me. I don't know how you got through something like that. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But you know what? Jim could sit there and say he wasted years of his life. Brian could sit there and say you wasted years of your life with drinking drugs. But I think everything leads us to where we need to be. That's just something I believe. That's
what I think, Hoover. I think that sometimes things have to happen in your life to lead you to where you need to be. And you've ended up with your two beautiful kids, and you've got. I think that you've got to look at it that, if you hadn't gone through that, then maybe you wouldn't have your two kids. I try and find the positive out of the negative, Yeah. And there's always a positive. There's always a positive out of it. And you can always, if you look hard enough, there's always a positive out of a negative. You just got to be willing to find it.
Yeah, like Brian.
Trouble is sometimes you just can't see it, can you?
No. No, you've got to want to see it, Hoover.
I mean, we always end up talking about people with depression regularly. The analogy comes up about the well, and it's a process of falling from being up on the ground, and you're hanging onto the edge of the well, and then you start falling, and at some point you hit the rock bottom part. Recognizing where you are, at what stage you are on that is really important. If you know things are bad but you're hanging on, you're kind of okay at the present. You've got things to work on. When you're at rock bottom, it's a beautiful place to be, because literally there's nothing else to worry about. You've lost everything. Rock bottom's a shockingly bad idea, but when you're there, you've got suddenly a foundation underneath you. There's nowhere further to fall. It's when you're in that process of falling that it's so difficult, because you might not survive that fall. that when you're in the process of losing everything, it's soul destroying. I don't know where I'm really going on this now, but again, it's knowing where you are and knowing that you need help. It's so important. Silence will kill you. It will absolutely kill you. You end up alone. You end up racing your own thoughts, racing around your head constantly. There's no outlet for it.
I think a massive thing, Coover, is you've got to want the help. You know, that's so huge, because Kate's going to bring it up in a minute. Something Joey just said, but you've got to want the help, and you've got to want to seek it out. You know, when I was in my bad place, I didn't want the help, and I didn't want to seek it out. It was only when it comes to a certain point with Kate that I had to make a choice that I thought, yeah, I need this. I need the help. I need.
But you didn't even have the help, though. You still did.
Well, I did from you,
but...
Kate. You keep saying that, right? But I did have the help from you. You was a massive help. So yeah, I did have help.
I have to say, first of all, you can't. What Jim has just said is 100% spot on. I said it on the last one we did about the people in your life, especially your partner. I've had a few times where I've almost fallen off the wagon. I've had a few times where my violence, not towards Ilana, but towards other people, has almost got the better of me. And if it hadn't been for her, just either looking straight at me or saying something, or just being there, just even holding my hand and just saying, breathe. You have no idea how much. If I didn't have Ilana by my side, Coover knows the full story, which I won't say online because I'll come across as a psychopath. I almost done some very stupid things that I would never, ever see the light of day of again. A couple of years ago, before I came back for London, it's one of the reasons I came back. And Ilana was like, we need to get you out of here. Even during that time, if it wasn't for her, and like you mentioned, kids, I don't have the luxury at the moment of being a father, maybe won't be able to, but I have 5 little kids back home who are just everything to me.
They're gorgeous as well. I've seen the photo, Brian. They're absolutely
mate, they are
gorgeous.
Literally, like who said, they are my. I call them my 5 precious gems. My next tattoo is their birthstones on my hand here, or somewhere on my body. They are everything to me. But this link I've just shared is, I don't know, Lynn may have seen it. It's a video that's been on for a while, because I know Lynn is very in the mental health space, as in talks about it very openly. It's called I Have a Black Dog, His Name is Depression. It's a cartoon kind of video. It's an awesome watch. And just before, with what Coover said, I can't urge everyone enough to watch that. Like Coover said, very quick, just talking to someone, what you've got to remember is, when he mentioned his dad and talking to his dad, when you speak to someone, you always think, oh my God, this is so bad. They're going to think I'm a nutcase. They're going to think I'm crazy. They're going to think you don't know what you don't know. And you talking to that one person and having them say it, if they treat you that way, you're like, well, fuck off out of my life. You're not a friend of mine, or fat, whatever. Or they're going to go, right, let's help you out. I didn't know you were going through this. Let me be there for you. If you need to go to a doctor's and you're scared, I'll come with you. Wait in the way. You never, ever know. You got to remember, Coover and I help people and try to speak to people. And there's people like Rosie in this chat. I don't know if Jess is here, or other people within this community that we speak to regularly. I don't know what they look like. I ain't seen their face. They've seen mine. I ain't seen theirs. But I'm very, very comfortable speaking about it, because someone was there to help me get through this, and now I can pay it forward.
Yeah.
Jim and Kate, I met you for the first time for the Ipswich game, but we've known each. How long have you been streaming now? A year and a half?
Yeah, just over a year and a half.
Spoken loads of times via messaging or calls, shared cat photos, but met you face to face for the first time on the Spurs Ipswich game. Back then, if I just met you, I was too scared to come on. I should have been on We Are Tottenham TV about 6 months earlier, but every time I got into the back room, I bottled it. I was like, oh my God, I've got all these. But then obviously now it's been a huge gateway of my life and a huge segment of my life. But a lot of the people I now call my nearest and dearest, or family, or whatever terms of endearment you want to use, and and feel most comfortable speaking to is either in a camera to people in a chat or behind the scenes with all the guys that I've met and ladies, sorry, in the Spurs community. You just never know that you could be carrying something right now. People in your chat could be thinking, I'm really struggling right now with whatever it could be, mental health or a particular incident or an addiction or whatever. But I don't know who I can speak to. You don't know what you don't know. Don't go around and go, I'm going to find the first person and go, right, let's talk this. Let me, but you never know. That person, I've had a lot of people that drop me, rightfully so or incorrectly so, through my addiction. Like Hoover said, he was pushing for it. Maybe it was me that pushed them away or they, whatever combination. But then when I started turning my life around and they still didn't want to know me, I was like, okay, fine. I've made my bed or you've made your bed. But I've realised even when I start my new job, we had our Christmas party. They're like, "Are you drinking?" And I was like, "No, I'm an alcoholic." They even look at me and go, "Oh my god," and stay away from me. And I'm like, "Well, you're not meant to be in my life anyway. Thanks for making that easier and me investing time in you." Or they're like, "Oh my god, that's an incredible achievement." Blah blah. Blah. All right, you, I will trust. I will speak with. I will build a friendship with. I'll be here if you need. You don't know what you don't know. So if you are struggling, I'm not saying just this will always work, but speaking about it, like Coover did with his dad, and Coover was absolutely blown away, as he's just mentioned, about how his dad dealt with it. Remember, back when Coover spoke to his dad, it was a very different time. A very, very different time when mental health was completely frowned upon. Like, literally, it was very, very taboo, wasn't it, Coover, back then? And even my time, even my age, now we're in a much better place. So if you do have someone or something you need to, even if it's me and Coover, me and Coover have reached out to many people. I know Coover's in another couple of groups speaking with people. And sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's even better being in a WhatsApp group with or content creators or people that are in those chats that you don't have that connection with, like in real life, but you do virtually or messaging wise. It's a huge support. It's a huge, huge support, people, and we're always here for you.
Yeah, completely. Shemtown with a lovely donation. Thank you, Shem. Big up Coover Boy for being so open. Wish I was as strong as you, but never been able to be like that. When I try, I break out in a sweat and feel like I'm being choked when I try to get the words out. I don't think that's an uncommon thing. I think it's incredibly difficult from my own experience to try and explain how you feel at times. But eventually you will. I think it comes a point where you know you've got to, and I don't know if you agree with that, Kuvo, if you get up to a point where you know you've got to speak, or
100%. Like today, I said I wasn't sure if I could come on because it's difficult. It's difficult even now. The reason I came on is because I know there's parts of my story that will resonate with other people, and I'm just showing that this, no matter how low you can get, to the point where you wish you have a death wish like I did, there is a way back. It does happen. You've got to allow yourself the time. You just got to just make that first step. Nobody's going to do everything for you, but if you make just a little bit of effort, you will find some helping hands along the way, and it does help. Matt, we've got a really, really good, strong community now based in the JSY Jess's channel, the JSY Talks Football. Very, very strong friend group there that's formed. We're all helping each other along the line of the road there a little bit. It helps. I'm looking at Joey Barton in the chat though, and feel I resonate with what he's saying as well. I used to feel exactly like that.
Yeah.
He's
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, I want to talk about Joey in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, he says this is a problem shared halved. Sometimes it's easier just to bury the problem, or am I just a coward?
No, you're not a coward. Not in a million years. But you know what, Joey? It's what I said a minute ago. You've got to want to open up about it. Now, I'm going to touch on something that Joey said in the last stream that it stayed in my head. That he had a bad upbringing. I'm not sure what he hasn't let us on to what, but I know he's had a bad upbringing. Now, Joey, not many people know this. I had a terrible, terrible upbringing. Kate knows, as bad as can be, right? And I turned it into a positive. I made it make me a better man, a better dad, a better husband. So it's hard to say it on here. You've got to want to turn it around. What happened to you? You know, you've got to turn that negative into a positive. That's what I did. If I'd have followed along the lines of my mum and dad, I would just be one of the worst people on the planet because they were terrible, my parents. But you've got to kind of reverse it, if you understand what I'm saying, and turn it into a positive. It's hard because I don't know what Joey went through, but I think it's similar to what I went through by what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally took me getting to the point where I'd nearly got myself killed before it suddenly clicked. I suddenly had that revelation that I can do something here. I've got to do something here. But if you don't find that moment where you realise you've got to make the first step, it's difficult. You're stuck in that. That is being at the bottom of the well. There's no light to go towards. There's no way out. Every day's the same, and that feeling's constant. All those bad thoughts circling around your head endlessly. I feel that's where Joey's at the moment, because everything he's saying, I recognise that as part of where I was at one point. All I can say, mate, is take the gamble.
Cooper, I just want to say to Joey and to everyone, but Joey, this is specifically, I've just given Kate the link to drop for the video. You know, I send the third grade dropout, the black dude doing the university speech. That video, I've said, how many people have I sent that to, Cougar? This is my every time I feel low, every time I feel defeated, every time I feel I need a reset, I play this video. Sometimes it'll be 3 times a day, sometimes it'll be 3 times a week, sometimes it'll be 3 times a month. This video is very, very powerful. Got humour in it, but I think this video will do wonders for Joey. What do you reckon, Coofs?
Difficult to tell. Don't know what sort of mental state Joey's in. Yeah,
give it a watch, Joey.
It's all I'll say is I find it inspirational for sure. I'd also say to Joey, and you know this very well as well, Brian. The thing is with counselling is you don't always get a good counsellor.
No,
100%.
And if that's your first experience of it and you dismiss it, you're being a bit hasty, because it might just need to change. You will find that they are out there. There are plenty there that do a fantastic job. And if you do get hold of one of them, you will know it. In the very first session, you've suddenly got a little crumb of a way forward, just a little teaser to actually go down that path. First one I went to didn't do a damn thing. I just thought, what a waste of time. If anything, I went back and started drinking more heavily, because then I thought there is no way out. That's it. I'm done. Bad counsellors are are detrimental to you.
Yeah.
You go. I will say, I will go. You're right, bad counsellors, but this is the thing. It may not be they're a bad counsellor. It's just a bad fit for you. This is the thing. When you go for counselling, like I said, with the miscarriage I had one where if I had them in front of me, Lord knows what I would have done. They weren't good, but I called back again and started again, and I found the one that helped me. And the most important thing when you go to counselling, I can't stress this enough, is you have to go there. And even on the first session I went on ever, I played the game. I just told the doctors or the psychiatrist or counsellor, whatever it was, what they needed to hear to get me out that door. To just say, yeah, you're fine. I don't know what you don't need to come back. You're just burying the problem even further. This is you go in there for the help. If you don't go there and say, right, I need help, this is the issue, this is the problem. Like if you go to the doctor with a throat infection or you can't swallow or you got tonsillitis, you go, yeah, I've got a bad knee. What's going to happen? They're not going to be able to treat it. Everything, like if you like I said before, you take your car in for an MOT to get your car serviced. You go to the gym to keep your body in shape and give that a service for people that go to the gym or exercise. You've got to do it with your mind. You've got to. If you're in a bad place, it can be. Listen, don't get me wrong. The first time I went to counselling, it was one of the most daunting things I ever did. When I went to my first counselling session at 18 or psychiatrist, if someone had told me at 45 I'll be living the life that I live now, I'd have done it sooner. I'd have done it a lot sooner. But it's very taking that, as with everything, isn't it? You jump in the deep end and it's sink or swim. But you hold the destiny of whether you sink or swim.
Yeah.
If you go there and open up and deal with the issue, which is hard, and you should get a lot of reward from doing it. And don't get me wrong when I say this, there will become a time where you'll come out of counselling and you'll just burst out into tears crying because everything's just unburdened. And you will feel low for a few days, week, whatever, because but then once you've gone down and sorted the issue out, you come soaring up like a phoenix from the ashes. And believe me, that part of the journey is well worth that part. But obviously it's a hard thing to do, but believe me, it's as rewarding as it comes.
Yeah. Lynn Simpson, spot on here. Coover, you have to be given a lot of credit, and Brian, because you're telling the whole world of your own struggles. So without even thinking about it, you're helping someone else. Yeah, I think when people know that people have been through what they're feeling, it definitely makes them feel better. But it's funny how you three all turn to sort of drink, drugs, violence, self-loathing. You all went through the same thing, really. I don't know if that's a universal thing.
I think you get
a male thing.
I think you get to. I kind of got to a place where, because the shit that happened to me as a kid, affected me really bad. But I was lucky in the sense of that I ended up getting a job that took over my life, so it all got pushed to the back. Then when I give up that job and bought the snooker, it all come to the forefront again. So I turned to drink and drugs, and then I met you, so I had another thing to take that away. So I think it is a lot to do with other things that are happening in your life. Something might take over your life and push it to the back. And I think with Joey, I think there's something in his life that pushes it to the back,
sure.
and it comes back up now and again with him. But I mean, I'd love to talk to you, Joey, because I think we might have had a similar upbringing by things I've seen you say in the past. I thought that. I just try. I personally, because I've got quite a strong character, I try and turn everything. You know what I'm like, Kate. I try and turn negatives into positives, and I've been able to do that. But for some people, I know it's not that easy. You know, it's horrible to see it. To see people like Joey, and obviously he's struggling his bollocks off. So I hate to see it.
Jim, the thing you got to look at as well now is you and I and Coover are of a similar age, let's just say. So we had to come up with the taboo of mental health and how it was looked upon then. What happens now and what I worry about is obviously we're now in a stage for people of our generation and slightly younger that is very, very openly spoken about. But people like my nephews and my niece now that are growing up in a world where now it's cyberbullying, social media trolling. And that's kept very, very quiet, isn't it? Because some kids don't want to speak about it with them. So I always say one of the greatest gifts of me going through everything I did is, heaven forbid it happens to any of my nephews or niece, I'll spot it a mile away. I won't even be able to say, well, like Kate brought out those stats, which are always brilliant to hear, or brilliant or damning to hear, but refreshing to get out there to promote it. But very hard to talk about. Hard to talk about. Like when my parents knew about my addictions, or cocaine, the main one, they went onto the internet and brought out all these stats saying 85% of people that do it this much will their nose will do this, or your health will. If it happens, please God, it doesn't to my nephews or my niece, I'll see the signs. I'll be like, listen, if you want to live on the streets, have no money, be fearful of the doorbell ringing, looking over your shop, like everything that goes along with it. And then that's just from what you think is going to happen. Then you get the mental anguish of, oh my God, is my phone going to ring? Is this going to... This is the thing. Nowadays, there are a lot of people, like I said, of my nephew and of Kuva's kids' ages now, that have to deal with this god-for-awful cyberbullying, trolling. And listen, we all get it from YouTube. We go on shows, you know, and not just us, but all YouTubers. You see what the comments can be like. And it's a horrible... This is what we have to deal with now. And this is what I think is even more important, that people like yourselves, and when Tottenham on tour or back, we'll help support you and do more shows. Maybe even collaborate. We'll do a massive one together or something we can talk about. Because what's going on online right now, and you hear about kids, even grown-ups, going to as far as suicide because of what's happening on the internet. I said social media can be a wonderful thing. Let's face it, it's put us four together. If it hadn't been for social media or anything, we probably would never even cross paths, let alone know each other.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's a lot of bad, and the bad seem to have the massive effect on people in the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like
right
that
there,
AFTV guy during COVID. Yeah, I mean, COVID was a terrible time for lots of people. But I've completely forgotten where I was going to go with.
Well, I was the sad thing about it with I've forgotten his name now. What was Claude?
Claude. Yeah.
Claude. So Claude, do you know the sad story? Claude hit me like a ton of bricks because literally 2 days before he did that, I was on a stream with him. And Kenny Ken, and I was with another Spurs fan doing a North London derby quiz. And I tried to reach out to Claude for a year or two, even before I started coming on YouTube, because I'm AFTV and I knew he struggled with mental health. I reached out to him and said, Claude, I'd love to speak to you, but if you ever need to talk, like, obviously you saw my Tottenham logo, may have thought I was a troll, may have thought anyway, got to speak to him. And this was around the time I was still part of Tottenham Away, and we said we're going to do our first mental health one. And I said, Claude, I'd love you to come on. I'd love you to be a part of it, to show that mental health, when it comes to mental health, there's no rivalries. It's forget football teams or anything like an allegiances. It's all human aspect. He was like, Brian, I'd love to come on. We're talking behind the scenes like we do when we end streams. I was talking to him online. And then 48 hours later, what happened. And it knocked me for six. It knocked me for absolute six. But unfortunately, well said for bringing it up, Rankatit. He is the perfect example of what I was saying about trolling and everything going on. And it's why, again, good people like the three of you and myself will continue to promote, speak out about. And the thing is, I'm not ashamed of what I've done. I'm not ashamed of where I've been. Jim and I, most so, and Kuva, as much as we can talk about the amount of drunk we've done and the damage we did to our body and the bad things, we had some incredible times. I can go back and still remember some incredible, like some benders I've been on and be like, oh my God, that was incredible. And when I grow up, I could go back. When I'm old enough, I'll be like, do you know what? At least I had these mad occasions and these mad experiences. I don't endorse it or anything, but this is the thing. You look back at it, but you've got to, like I said, what goes on with Claude and everything, it needs to be dealt with. And it's why I very, very, very openly speak about drugs, alcohol. I speak about the violence. I'll never go to the depths of what I've done. Nothing like stupidly, and never laid a finger on a woman ever. Never would do. But I've done some horrible things. Horrible things. And ashamed a bit, but I wear them as a badge of honor now because it's got me where I am. And I wouldn't swap where I am for the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lynn said a lot of it starts off in your childhood, which is true, because I literally started my depression started when I was around 11, and that's when my dad left. My mum and dad divorced. So it really does. And Jim, a lot of your issues are shaped from the upbringing that you had.
Yeah, massively. Well, they all shaped from that, Kate. When I think back, it all shaped where I never really spoke to anybody about what happened to me. I never spoke to anybody about what my parents were like with me. I think the first person I really spoke to about it was you. I mean, you know things that no one knows apart from some of my family. You know, I just didn't, and it was all because I had the job I had, where it was quite a pressure job, and it was a good job, and I'd done a lot of travelling, and I was always busy. It was all pushed back, and then when I give that job up, it started coming to the forefront again, and it is all to do with your childhood. Of course, it is. Most of it is, you know, and that's just a fact. You know, this is why I try and pride myself on being a good dad, a good husband, because I want my son to grow up and look back and say, yeah, my dad was a good dad. My dad
See,
shaped me to who I am.
I suffer with rejection issues, without a doubt. I got a real issue that my dad sort of split up with my mum, but then never bothered with me and my sister. And my sister just can wipe it away now, but it's haunted me for the rest of my life. I don't understand. And I'm kind of, I think that's why there's a lot of self-loathing on my part. I really put myself down all the time. I was with a bloke that was for 3 years told me I was fat, was violent, was vile, and I think all these things shape who you are. And I don't think anything will ever make me change how I feel about myself. I don't think there's anything anyone could say that made any difference. You try it, Jim, all the time. I couldn't have a man that sort of gives me more compliments than you, but I just got no confidence in myself. It's cameras on, it might seem like I have, but I haven't.
Yeah, but what you got to do, Kate, is you got to look back and you got to say to yourself, because some guy who's insignificant, who's just a pig, you know, talks to you like that, doesn't mean it's true. You know, if I tell Brian now he's a multi-millionaire, it doesn't mean he's a multi-millionaire, does it? So some guy tells you something, right? He was a pig, the guy, an absolute nasty piece of shit. You know, it doesn't make it true because he told you that. And this is what I try and tell you, that you're a beautiful soul, you're a beautiful girl, and that's what you are. And if you ask Hoover, if you ask Brian, they'll tell you the same thing. You know, you're a good person, so you got to believe you're a good person.
Yeah.
Okay, what you've gone through is exactly what Ilana's gone through. Her dad,
really?
her dad did exactly the same. Ilana tried to build a relationship with the dad. My sister-in-law has never spoken to him in 34 years. He came to my wedding. They still didn't say a word. He arrived late. My wife didn't want him there, but I said, if you don't invite him and anything ever happens to him, you'll never forget it. He came and he brought his new bit of fluff, which she said, don't. And I think we've been married now almost 10 and a half years. I haven't seen him since the wedding. And she everything you said with about ex-partners being abused verbally and she's had it all. One of the greatest remedies for me when I came back to England is my marriage was on the line because I was imploding. One of the things I love, and one of the first things I ever loved about Alana, she's got the most incredible laugh. It's such a sweet, innocent little laugh. And before I came back, I hardly ever heard it because we were in such a mess. She's laughing all the time now. And every time I hear her laugh, I'm just like, do you know what? As long as she's laughing and she's smiling again, things are happy. It's just like Jim said, it's just that. When I hear Alana laugh, I'm like, all right, she's fine. She's smiling. It just takes that. And you're like, do you know what? Things are good. That's how much we go back to when we're saying about partners and how much you hate Jim. Help is the word I was looking for. Not hate, help. When I'm feeling low, if I just hear Alana laugh, I'm like, I'm happy. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Well, we've been together 24, 25 years, Jimbo. You've never even seen my dad, have you?
No.
I haven't seen him for 28 years. I've tried everything to build a relationship, but he's just not bothered.
So
But this
sometimes,
makes
Kate, sometimes you just got to turn around and say, "Look, you know, I've tried. That's it. He's not worth it." You know,
yeah,
let him crack on with his life, and we crack on with ours.
this makes me sad. Joey says, I've got plenty of money, great job, nice property in central London, but I'd give it all up for a magic wand to make the pain go away. I mean, I don't know what to say to that, Coos. What do you say to someone who says that to you? I don't know what to say.
Oh, he's right. I mean, what's the point in having any sort of material wealth if you're not happy?
Yep.
That's the one thing that we talk about football being a leveler, but mental health is as well, because it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. If you are in so much pain that every day's a misery for you, it doesn't matter if you've got luxury yachts and private planes and millions in the bank. What good's that turn it to you if you're miserable with it? I've
Look at Robin Williams.
Yeah. Gary Speed. He's always one that comes to mind for me. And that's somebody who outwardly you think they are strong. They can deal with anything. Complete warrior.
Yeah.
But it's that mask, isn't it? With so many of us wear one. For me, it's always humor and being jovial all the time, because I don't like dealing with serious stuff. I can't handle it. I've got my plate's full with all that kind of stuff. The only not respite. The way I deal with things, I'm not fixed. You see, I'm not cured of all this stuff that was happening to me. I've just found a way, and the only way I can deal with it is by trying to help other people. If somebody needs something and I've got money, I'll spend it and get them what they need. Even if I barely know them, I've always done that. These things don't matter. If I get some sort of sense of self-worth from helping somebody else through something, that matters to me. That actually makes me feel better for a day. But all the problems will come back the next day. It's one of those cycles for most people, isn't it? You'll have some days where things are okay, and you get through it, and then other days you don't want to get out of bed. Even the most mundane little things it's just too much. Just leave me alone. I think Joey was saying it as well. Just completely shut yourself away from the entire world. I'll still do that. I have some days I just want to shut the door, ignore the kids, say there's food in the kitchen, get on with it. I don't, but I feel like doing that.
Yeah, I go through that. I say to Jim, I just want to get in my car and drive, and he goes, "Where?" Just like, anywhere. I just want to be on my own for a bit because it's all too much. Joey says, I don't think anyone ever gets cured though. Maybe it's just they get the tools to cope better, and I think that's what I need. I think, Joey, it's doing you so much good to reach out to Jim or Brian or Kuva and maybe just have a chat with them. I know it's entirely up to you, but there's so many people in this community that are wonderful people.
Does anyone here have Joe Barton's number?
No.
Okay,
look, Joey,
if
you did give my number.
Yeah, if he goes onto the community page, right, I would love to have a chat with you, Joey, because I really think we've got some similar things that have happened in our life. So if you go on the community page and you email Kate, I'll send you my number and you can give me a call.
Jim, also feel free to give mine if he does.
Yeah.
Give him mine.
That's how it started with Martin Knightsbridge, for instance. He messaged me, swap numbers. Now you speak to him quite regular, and that's literally how it starts.
Yeah, I speak to Martin as well. Yeah,
the offer's there, Joey. It's entirely up to you, but that's the first step for me to making yourself in a better place. But
even when, if you don't feel like you can talk to any of us directly, the likes of Brian and myself, I'm sure it's the same with Kate and Jim as well. We've got lists of contacts, professional organisations.
They're all going along the bottom.
Yeah, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So if you can't open up to us, don't worry about that. If you feel you need help, we can at least point you in the right direction. If you're ready for that, we will help you do it. No problem. No questions asked.
Yeah,
And if you
absolutely.
need to reach out to me as well, easiest way, although I'm slack at responding to them, is Twitter. X. I've just at Coover99. It's nice and easy.
Yeah.
So if
All right,
anybody
bye,
needs to
David.
reach out, I'll get you in the right place. If you want to talk to Brian, but you haven't got his number and you got mine, that's fine. He'll do the same on vice versa. We work closely on quite a few things, especially about this sort
100%.
of subject.
Yeah.
It's a big
100%.
step, Joey. You're right. It's a big step, but it's a step I think you need to take, mate. I really do.
And not only it will be the best step. It's like I said. I look at it, and when I talk about giving up alcohol, it's the toughest, hardest, and biggest decision of my life. But it was the most rewarding, satisfying, and most refreshing step of my life. Everything changed from that step. Everything in my life changed from that one step. It's huge, but you make it. It's big, and like Cooper was saying, the context we have. When we've done mental health shows, whatever, I've got counsellors that will initially speak. You can't obviously straight away start giving you counselling, but can put you in the right place. I have psychiatrists that have come on our mental health shows, both in England and Canada, that can point you in the right direction and have a consultation with you via email and say, right, I think from what you're saying, you need to go and get this kind of counselling or go down this avenue, and here's some organisations. I have the CEO of a mental health charity, Sports Against Suicide, by the name of Tara, a wonderful, wonderful lady. We really do. It's not just people that we speak to within the community. There's actual genuine people that are a lot more knowledgeable and do it for a profession that we can get you in contact with. So you haven't got to wait on it. You may have to wait NHS or whatever country you're in, but at least you can kind of sift through the multiple questions of what do you think I need, where do I need to go. They'll funnel it down for you and say, right, from what you're telling me, go for this, try this, do that, and then you can deal with it. So, like I say, if anyone reaches out to Jim or Kate, feel free to give my number out if they ask for it, both of you. You reach out to Coover, you need one. Coover, and vice versa. The other guys will say the same. If anyone reaches out to me, we're all here to help.
Exactly. Big up Vindaloo with a super chat saying for the be strong and helping others. I think it's just important people know that everybody's going through it. Like I went through something that not hardly anybody on YouTube knows at all. I went through my own addiction. This is a year since around about a year since I've sort of got over it, but it was the worst thing in my whole life ever. And it got to a stage where I was actually contemplating killing myself because it got that bad. I don't want to go into it, but if it weren't for Jim and my son, I don't think I'd be here. It's as easy as that. Right, Jimbo? I mean,
yeah, Kate.
You helped me through it.
Yeah, but you know what? An addiction is an addiction, and people get addictions, and it's not the thing to do is when someone gets an addiction, is not slaughter them, not put them down, not put them in a worse place than what they're in. It's to help them, and that's what I was here for. You helped me, I helped you, and I never slaughtered you for it. It was just something that got you, and we had to get you over it, and we did. That's the thing people have to remember. Why this is important. When someone gets an addiction, is not to put them down for it. Is to understand it and understand why they're doing that addiction and help them out of that addiction. The worst thing you can do is make them feel worse about their addiction, in my opinion. And look, you did brilliant. I couldn't be more proud of you. You did absolutely fantastic. So it's no. You shouldn't be crying. You should be smiling. You did so well.
It's cost me half my family as well because half my family don't
look,
talk to me anymore.
Kate, listen to me, darling. That's their problem. That's not your problem. They didn't wish to back you and help you, right? They wished to walk away from you, right? So they've lost out. So that's you didn't cause that. They caused that, right? they chose to walk away from you, right? The family that chose to stuck with you are the lucky ones because they've still got you in their life. You know, if you walk away from someone with an addiction, to me, you can't do anything worse. That's when you should be pulling them in and helping them, and they chose to walk away from you, so it's their loss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. I need to take a minute. Sorry.
Listen, people should realise that this is your show, this is your channel, but the guts it takes, you got people have to remember all these people that may be trolling or rewatch this and think, oh my god, whatever. What we do, even for Spurs, we put ourselves in a very, very, very vulnerable place. We come on camera, we say our views. People will either agree or disagree on footballing matter, whatever it is on football. And you've seen the brutality of abuse all four of us have received in the past. It's part and parcel because these people have no lives and they think this is what they need. But then for you to come out and speak like this, it's magnified by 1 billion times. It just shows how passionate you are about things. It shows what a wonderful human being you are. You're prepared to put yourself through pain to show others that you can do this, or I've been through this. And there's a lot of people sitting down that are watching this right now, or will watch it, or maybe other mental health streams that see it and think, yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. This ain't going to happen to me if I do this. It can't be that simple. It's not simple, but you can get through it. You can do it. And if you put in the work and dedication, how many people watch American shows or whatever and see a guy walk into a bar and just walk out of the woman, or vice versa, and think, oh my God, look how easy it is over. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Well, it can happen again, but it's you doing what you've just done and feeling emotional. As I keep saying, when I've cried and when anyone speaks on matters like this, I wear it as a badge of honor, and so should you, because you've been there, you've gone through it, you've come out the other side, and now you're promoting awareness about it and showing, do you know what? If I can do it, you can too. So, bravo for doing what you've just done. Listen, crying is not for the weak; it's for the strong.
It's because I'm
People
so
speaking
ashamed.
about this, so
You shouldn't be ashamed, Kate. You shouldn't be ashamed of something that grabbed you, right? Because there's addictions out there that grab people, right? And you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's not. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means it's just something that happens in life to millions and millions of people, right? You should be proud that you come out the other side of it, you know. And you know the funny thing is, Brian and Kuva, right? The funny thing is, the one person in her family that embraced her, right? And stuck up for her and got behind her was someone she never spoke to for 10 years. That was to me, it was like, her sister. It showed what she hadn't spoke to her sister for 10 years, and yet her sister stood behind her and stuck up for her against other people in the family.
Yeah.
I mean, that amazed me, absolutely amazed me, you know. But look, you've lost some of your family, but it's their choice, Kate. Not your choice, their choice to walk away. So shame on them.
Yeah. Oh.
So I was going to add to what Jerry Barton was saying. That first step is hard. I've no doubt about it.
Yeah,
that is amazingly hard. The thing I would stress to people who are in that position where they have a doubt that anything or anybody can actually help them is there will be somebody out there. It can be a complete stranger, but there will be one person. That's all it takes. One person that says something that actually gets through to you, and you don't know they're there, and you don't know what it is they're going to say, and they will open up this door for you that you didn't see before. It's there. It can be done. Sometimes you have to be patient until you find the right person. For me, it was actually a family member. It was my dad. He was the one that got through to me like nobody else did. For a lot of people, it's a counsellor. They need that distance, that no sort of connection in any way. I couldn't open up to my friends. There's no way I could have done that. Family, though, had to. I just got myself to that state where I forced it upon myself. Either I started talking to them, or they're literally watching me die in hospital. Something had to change. But for most people, you just need that one person. They are out there. Don't give up. If you had a bad experience with counselling and think they can't do anything for you, you're wrong. They can. Just not that one. As Brian said, sometimes you just don't get the right fit. You have to shop around. People, it's like getting a second opinion with a doctor. Sometimes they're not right. Sometimes they are. But it's a hard one. If you don't give yourself just the chance to get help, you're going to be stuck there forever. It's a guaranteed. You are not going to get better.
Yeah.
So find the strength somewhere, one way or another. Bobby K, I see in chat again. Big up, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say this, that what Bobby said, because he said this to me before, that he speaks to his therapist, and he said that he couldn't have made look. He's putting it up here. I can't imagine telling anyone half the things I speak to my therapist about. So it just goes to show you. I mean, Bobby's the example there.
But Bobby's also an example of what I was just saying about. He went to the first therapist, and they were bloody useless.
Yeah.
Bobby used to come out of there feeling more angry than when he went in. And then he found one that's good. And what a difference.
Yeah,
it's such a difficult subject because, as Brian said, getting one that fits. I was wrong to say that bad counsellor, because they obviously know what they're doing. But yeah, one that's tailored ideally for you is going to be might be difficult to find, but there will be somebody. Somebody will just have that magic few words that get through, and then the door's open. You can then, like I said, a little breadcrumb trail through an open door. There's a light somewhere. All of a sudden, you can see something that's going to help you. Finding the strength to start with, though, that is so difficult. But you owe yourself at least a chance.
Yeah, 100%.
I will say as well very quickly on that one. For anyone that we talk about therapy, I will tell you now, if it hadn't been for the great charitable organisation back home, excuse me, Mind.
Which organisation?
Mind.
Mind. If it hadn't been for Mind, I wouldn't be here. If it hadn't been for them, I could be here, but I'll probably be banged up or still in a. There are some very, very. I still donate to Mind. I still give, and I will do till the day I die. Give them. If it hadn't been for them, so if anyone is thinking, what organisation should I reach out for, especially if you're in London, I don't know if they're nationwide. Mind are incredible. I cannot begin to tell you how much. I will pick them up. They're a phenomenal organisation.
Yeah, I think them. I'm not sure if their numbers at the bottom or not, but Mind, they're incredible. Samaritans. I know a friend of mine was really struggling, and she used to ring Samaritans pretty much every day. But if that's what it takes to get through another day, another night, then Lynn said it earlier. Me and Jim are lucky we've got each other. Some people, you're lucky you've got Alana. Cooper's got his kids. Some people feel like they've got no one. They don't talk to family. So there are people on the end of these phones, and they are marvelous.
And everybody is very likely to have one of the best contacts they will ever have already on their list. Your GP. Go to your GP, because mental health and physical health, we know this damn well, they go together. They're so intrinsically linked. And the GP, we talk about us having contacts. He can get in contact with anybody. He's the key to the whole of the NHS. It's So if you know you are struggling, go and talk to them. They're not gonna put you down. They're not gonna judge you. They are there because they want to help you, and they will. And they will know people that can get you on the path you need to be on. Again, it's that little bit of finding some way to believe that somebody can help you. That's a difficult thing. I still struggle with that. That's why I help other people, because I feel like I can't get fixed. It's so stupid. I'm the most hypocritical person I can think of when it comes to this subject, because I know I can give good advice to other people,
but
I'm terrible at doing it for myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What Joey's saying now, I understand that, because
yeah,
I would never want my son to know Joey. So I mean, I'm lucky. As Lynn said, you know, in her last comment, you have to have the right person. I'm lucky I got Kate, and Kate's got me. So you know, it's a good thing for me, and it's a good thing for Kate. But I would never want my son to know. So I do understand that.
Yeah,
I
do talk to my kids about some of my past, but I will leave out the bits they don't need to know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because the rest of it, there's something I hope they could learn out of it. And that's what you're trying to do with your kids, isn't it? Prepare them.
I'm exactly the same with William Coover. He knows some of my past, but not all of it.
Yeah. And you got to remember as well. Sorry, Brian. I was just going to say, what you're telling these people.
Exactly what I was about to say. Exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, they've heard it 1,000 times. Yeah.
It's not even that they've heard it
like
1,000 times. It's like Sol said. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Sol. This is really freaking me out. This is playing game. I'm agreeing with. These people are volunteers. They do a day's work or whatever. They are going in 24 hours a day, whatever part their shift is. Thanks, sweetheart. They never know what phone call they're going to get. It could be, I've just been sexually abused. It could be child abuse. It could be, and these are trained professionals. These are people that are giving up their time, and it could be, I don't know if I can pay the bit. Every case is just as severe, but to the person itself. But these are the volunteers that have given up their own free time to make themselves available to hear some of the most horrific, and obviously it has an effect on them. Can you imagine how they feel? Obviously they're there to help, but you hear these stories, and I could only imagine how horrific some of them could be, but they're still there to help. They're still there to help and put you in the right direction. The Samaritans are heroes. They are literal heroes. They don't wear capes. Let's say all heroes don't wear capes. That famous saying. Well, you want to talk heroes? The Samaritans, bloody hell, bloody hell. They are some organisation.
Also bundle onto that, but not from a medical point of view, but Citizens Advice Bureau, amazing people. If you got one of life's hassles like we all do, crippled with debts, things out of your control that you need desperate help with and don't know where to turn, Citizens Advice Bureau are absolutely amazing. They're just literally a hub for all the contacts you could possibly need in the world. They will find you the person you need to speak to help you out of your situation, and there is almost always a way. Again, it's believing that that help is there. You need to be in that frame of mind where you are just going to make that phone call, start the thing off yourself. Occasionally, I'll find it, and a lot of people find it, and we'll keep repeating it. Some days you don't feel you can do a damn thing about it. All you can do is lie there under the covers, hoping the day goes away.
I had cognitive behavioural therapy, and it didn't work for me. But Stuart says it didn't work for him. Joey says it didn't work for him either. But other people have sworn by it. Brian is coming back. He's just had to change computers, I think. But it's finding the right thing that works for you. You know, and that's not easy. It isn't easy. But when I was honest and I admitted what had happened, like what was going on in my life to Jimbo, and I actually opened up, even though it was horrendous. Probably one of the worst things I've ever had to do was be honest and tell him what was going on. The weight that was lifted off my shoulders after I did it, because I've been lying to him, and I don't like lying to him because he's everything to me. I don't want to get upset again, but it was a massive weight off my shoulders once I told him. Go on, sorry, whoever was going to speak.
I'm burdening. It's like what Joey's just been saying. It is a massive. It's the biggest step of them all.
It's the biggest step of them all. Saying to yourself, "I need help," is a big step. Saying, "Right, I know there's an issue. I need to get that help." You've identified the problem, or you've identified there is a problem. Sorry, not that you've identified the problem, but there is one. Then you make the biggest step. You make the biggest step. And Kate, thankfully, like you said, you've got Jim, and you did make that step. It's always going to be raw. It's always going to be raw, but you did it. You did it. And like I said, people, it's not a quick fix. Don't think I'm going to make this big step and life is going to go. All of a sudden, the suns are shining, the birds are singing. It will get there. It will get there. You have to make that step, though. I cannot begin to tell you. It may not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're going to come out the other side and life is brilliant and life's amazing and everything falls into place. But you'll feel life is that little bit easier, or that so much easier, just from doing it. Would you rather roll the dice and try for better, or to be in a better place? Sorry, that's the wrong wording I used. Or do you want to stick where you are and be not yourself and in it and carrying in this pain by yourself? What's it they say? Problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah. It was other people. It was a couple of other people in the community. I'm sure Kuva. I'm sure you was one of the people I reached out to. Bobby K was that helped me as well. But it's just the hardest thing is forgiving yourself, I think, and I'm not there yet. Yeah. I'm not there yet. So, Joey said,
sorry,
I
was just going to say my guilt and my shame about what happened. I know I'll take that to my grave. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It eases, but it's still there.
Well, the shame.
Yeah.
Look. All I can say to you, right? All I can say to you is, you shouldn't carry the shame, right? You should carry the positivity of how you come through the other side. Look, everybody on this planet makes mistakes. No matter who you are, I don't care who you are. There's not no one who's walked this earth that hasn't done something shameful at some time in their life, and you've got to let that shame go, Kuva, because look, you did what you did. There was reasons why you did it, right? And any decent person should turn around and say to you, "I understand. You know, you did that because you was in that place, or what for whatever reason, and you should let the shame go. You have to let the shame go. You know, I'm not ashamed of anything I did. You know, what I did, and I had reasons why I did it. And anyone I needed to put things right with, I put it right with them, you know, and I move on. And if they can't move on, then that's down to them. This is what I said to Kate about her family, right? She hasn't pushed them away. They've walked away. They chose to walk away from her when she needed them, right? For me, that's not family. I will say it because Kate's already said it. Kuva was one of the people that stepped up when Kate had her problem. Bobby Kate was one of the people that stepped up when Kate had her problem. And a good friend of mine, Frankie, he stepped up. Now, these weren't family, right? Even though we class you like family now, you wasn't family. You're not blood family, Kuva, but you three stepped up, you know. They chose to walk away. So fuck them. Let them walk away. You know, you shouldn't be ashamed of what you've done. What you've done, you've done. If people can't move on from that, then that's down to them. You know, you put yourself in a better place. You're in a better place now. You're a good dad, Kuva, right? You're a fantastic dad. I know that, right? Because obviously we talk outside. I know things.
And not only that, but his kids shout out Chelsea wankers, so we know he's a good dad.
Shouldn't be ashamed of anything you've done. You should just move on from it and say, right, that was a part of my life that I'm past. You know, I made mistakes. Right, that's it. I can't change it. So let's move on from it. And that's
the trouble I had with that, Jimbo, is it's when I go out. If I leave the house, I'm walking the streets. There are people who remember what I did, and I can feel it. It's like a paranoia now. I get terrible anxiety nowadays, really bad, to the point where I dread going outside. And although I can tell myself, you know, I'm here because of what I've done, and I'm here because I've got myself out of it as well, with help, it's still there. I can't shake it. Ideally, I would have loved to have just left this town, move somewhere else, fresh start. That can work for a lot of people, but I've got ties here now, and family, and it's more difficult for me. So I've kind of got used to it now, to the point where I can function, but I have to pick and choose my times, and good days and bad days. And big up to Jess.
When you walk out your front door, walk out with your fucking head high, right? And I fucking got past what I had, whatever the things that were going on in your life, right? You've got past it, and you've made yourself into a better person, a better dad. You're a good friend to a lot of people. If they can't,
I know that, Jim, but the trouble is, if I go out of the house and then somebody mentions something about my past I don't want my kids to hear, I'll worry about that.
Yeah, I understand that.
This is why we moved away, Jim, from your past, didn't we? We moved.
Yeah, but I moved away because I wanted to move away from the people that I was wrapped around. That's why we moved away.
I know, but even like your friend died recently, we didn't want to go back there because of those people. You kind of want to distance yourself from it. You're not ashamed of it, but you just don't want to be directly in front of what you've got through.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be around certain people, Kate, because it was people that weren't good for me. Yeah. So I don't want to see them again. It's a different situation. If I walk by them in the street, my head would be held high. You should be proud of what you've done, Coover and Brian. You shouldn't be ashamed of what you've done. You should be proud of what you've done, how you've come through it.
I was just about to say, I just want to say this because first of all, hi Jess, darling. Because I want to say it before, obviously, Jess, but I saw a comment from Joey, and this is specifically for Joey, because I saw him put it about he's worried about judgment when he should. Believe me, if you were to, and I can only speak for myself, and there will be no. If you reached out to any of us, I can promise you there is no judgment, and I'll word next. There'd be no judgment. It would be more honor.
You're cutting out a lot, Brian.
Yeah, say you again? Are. You keep cutting out.
Difficult to hear you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So as I was about to say, if Joey, and I'm speaking for the people here how I see it anyway. If you were worried about being judged, I can personally guarantee you there'd be no judgment here, and from a lot of places there'd be more. And I have to word this right, and I didn't want to write this. There's more pride and honor that you felt safe and trustworthy in us to unburden yourself and share the issue more than judge you for what it is. What it is listen, I'll tell you one thing right now. I'm ashamed of what I'm about to say, but I've said it before. When I was high on drugs and alcohol, my dad and me had such a relationship we couldn't be in the same room. I've smacked my dad about. My dad's hit me about. I retaliated, and it was the drugs and the alcohol. Like I said, I have a violent past, and I've done some horrific things. Right now, from having my dad not wanting to be in the same room as me or couldn't be, every time I have a low moment or every single time something goes wrong, the very first person I call is my dad. My dad has said to me, and would come on streams. If I go one out right now, my dad would say to me and say to everyone, if I had to go through all that I went through to be where we are now, I'll do it all over again in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm ashamed to say out loud, and I'm getting some of the things I've done and put my parents through, put my sister through while she was studying for her exams, having wild parties with cocaine and alcohol all around her while she was studying. I'll say it out loud now. I don't care. I look back at that and ashamed, but I say it because I now look at it, and me being able to do that. Brilliant. Joey, please, I cannot urge you enough. If you do reach out to me, you do say anything, I will not. It could be like I've just told you. I've physically assaulted my dad before. It's something it's one of my biggest regrets in my entire life. I've done lines of coke next to my sister while she was studying for her A levels. I've knocked vodka or whatever spirit I had over a 28-page essay she had to write and hand in the next day. And this weren't on computer, this was pen and paper. I've done some but you know what? I speak out about it, and if people want to judge me, then that's their business, whatever. I can promise you, brother, there will be no more honor. I will take more honor and pride that you feel confident enough to unburden yourself and share it than whatever it is. Whatever it is right. That's what you've done. You don't want to have this happen anymore, or you want to deal with this and get it out off your system. How can we get this done? That's what it's all about. Like I said, what I've just said now, I've never ever spoken about what I've done with my dad during those days ever. My nearest and dearest know. But now, like I said, a relationship that I never thought I'd have with my dad is now literally my dad I lost a very good friend, and the very next day his sister died within the year of me stopping drinking. His sister had just died. He left his whole family and try and found me. I was like, why aren't you with your family? He was like, you just had 2 deaths in 2 days. I was worried you could have a drink. He gave up everything in a heartbeat, dropped his mum, dropped his other sister, dropped his nieces, dropped his nephews, dropped everything to run to me. And that speaks volumes of the man. I don't call him my dad anymore. He's my hero. My dad is the reason I'm here. So, like I said, Joey, don't ever think that people are going to judge you. If they judge you, then they're arseholes. There will be no judgment here. So if you ever do want to reach out, you've got my number or Twitter. We'll deal with it together. A problem shared is a problem half, buddy.
I don't think any of us on here have the right to judge anyone.
Correct.
I was muted. I did that on purpose, see if anyone was paying attention. Jess, welcome to the stream. How are you doing, lovely?
I'm alive. I'm here to fight another day.
Exactly. Well, sometimes that's all we can hope for, really.
Yeah, that's it. So,
look at Cooper's face, the way he's looking at you.
Yeah, big up to the wife.
Big up of it.
Yeah, I can see how much Cooper. I can see how much Cooper adores you by the way he's looking at you.
Yeah, it's tough, I'm not going to lie.
He used to look at me like that, Jess. He don't know more.
I was still looking at Jimbo.
The thing is, we've been talking a lot about our own demons today, Jess. It's been a tough show, actually. I didn't think it'd go quite the way it went, but it's so difficult to open up. We've got Joey, who's got a lot of issues, but he's scared that he's going to get judged if he opens up. But it's important, I think, that people talk, even if it's to one person they find, because you've got kids as well, I think, Jess, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a lad. Yeah,
we were saying they're our little lifesavers. They don't realise what they do. Sort of, they keep us going without even knowing they keep us going.
That is true. If I didn't have Harry and Mum, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
I can tell you that one. I wouldn't be here. It's tough.
I think a lot of people say that, to be fair.
Honestly, seriously, like me at minute, I can't even motivate myself to get out of bed. It's awful. Like, I am in a really bad place. I've just closed myself in my bedroom. I don't come out of my bedroom. I just stay in here. I'm all right listening to everybody else. I will, I'll always give time to everybody else, but I don't open up to anybody myself. I don't talk to Stacey. I don't talk to any of them. They're no bits. I just keep everything bottled. Cooper knows this. Said it to him a couple of weeks ago. I'm sat here. There's painkillers outside of bed. I could just take the lot and fuck off because I've had enough. Life's tough. It really is a hard boat at the minute. For me, if I didn't have YouTube, my mum and my son, I wouldn't be here. I have no ability for myself at all. I told you, I hate myself. I get it on YouTube. I get it off YouTube. I've gone through the roughest 18 months in my life. I ain't even got a Christmas tree. I ain't even bothered this year. Seriously. My son's got his stuff, and that is it. I just don't want to be here. At the minute, I'm on the road on my own. Very lonely road. That's how it feels. It's tough. Not felt like this in a long time. Like I said to you, I've suffered with depression since I was a kid, on and off. now I've got to a point where I can't even go out of the house because I black out all the time with the epilepsy. I had a massive fit a couple of weeks ago. My mum didn't even know what to do. It's awful. I'm under hospitals, scans. I'm not very well in myself. Mentally, I'm not well. I know that myself, you know, and I have to put a front on because I look after my mum. She's COPD emphysema, my son. But I close myself away in here. I go on stream, I put a brave face on it for a couple of hours, and then I come off and sit in my own thoughts. I don't sleep very well. Cooper knows this. I went to bed at 9:30 this morning. Just sit in my own thoughts. It's a tough road for me, and it really is hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cooper's the perfect person to, if you ever want to open up to. He's so brilliant, but he's a lot like you. I think he's like he says, he doesn't open up too much himself, but he helps everybody else. I think that's a sign of people that struggle. They seem to be the ones that are open to helping everyone else, but they're not really helping themselves.
Yeah,
I suspect that's why Jess is here as well. Same reason I am. It's not because I feel like I'm going to get something out of it. It's because I think maybe somebody else might. And, you know, it justifies me being around today. That's basically what it is. You're looking for scraps to give meaning to your life, because when you're at that low point, and Jess is going through hell at the moment, there is no doubt about it. We've all got our things to deal with, but I think Jess has got an excessive amount on her plate at the moment.
Yeah.
I really feel for her, but we've got quite close talking about things, but like as she says, she won't open up totally either, and neither do I. I tried a little bit, but it's difficult. You don't want to. I think as soon as you start connecting with somebody, it even becomes harder then, doesn't it? Because you don't want to burden them with it. It's the wrong way to think, but it's the natural way when you're going through it. Yeah, big up, Jess. Just being around at the moment's great stuff. And
do you think?
Yeah, Jess's channel. I'll just finish saying Jess's channel. The community that centers around that is like nothing I've seen. It's so close knit, so helpful and supportive of each other. Got each other's backs constantly, and Jess is the center of that. I know Stacey and Renee and Naomi, they're always helping out on streams and everything, but let's face it, it is JSY Talks Football. It is Jess at the center of it all. Those people, those close, really close people, she's put them in place herself. That's her little shield for the channel and everything, and it works brilliantly. Such a good support for so many people. And it's not just Leeds, is it? We got Spurs there, heavy representation. There's people from Wolves and Man City and Liverpool and you name it. And everybody comes there because it's a safe spot. It's a unique channel. If you haven't subscribed, go and give it a look. It's something different. Don't think of it as a football channel. It's just like it's a pub meeting. It's loud, it's crude, it's rude. But there's everybody there either cares for somebody or they're in need of help themselves. And that kind of that bonds us all together. Fantastic place. But there we go anyway.
What was you going to say, Jimbo?
I was going to ask Cooper and Jess if they think that they can't really open up, you're right, Paddy, fully to someone because you're scared that someone might end up walking away.
Oh, it's not that they'll walk away. I feel like everybody's got their own baggage to carry around. I feel bad if I'm putting extra baggage on them, but from me. I think that's part of the bottling it up as a bloke thing, isn't it? You don't want to bother other people with it. You know, every there's always somebody worse off than myself, so I'll just get on with it. I've learned over the years that's a really bad attitude to have, because you do need to look after yourself.
Yeah.
And no matter what the cause of the problem is, that can vary. It can be a almost minuscule, irrelevant thing to somebody else. But if it matters to you and it makes you feel that way, it's just as bad as what somebody else is going through. Because at the end of the day, it's what the result is. The result is you being so miserable you don't want to be here anymore. that's a serious problem. But that's what I mean about that. I feel like I don't want to burden other people with that. It's easy in some ways. It's easier to come out here on a stream and just kind of talk blankly to everybody out without looking at specific names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was all it was, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Brian. Have you got to go now, or?
Yeah, I'm just going to go. I've got to do a couple of bits before I join Ben in 6 minutes, and then go to work.
I thought Ben was at 3:30. No.
No, it's Brewing Bollocks tomorrow at 3:30.
Oh,
It's 2 o'clock today.
Okay.
But most importantly, just to everyone on the panel, Kate, Jim, thank you so much for doing this again. And like I said, whenever you're doing it, if I'm about, I'll be here to come on and support you two in the great you're doing. Kuva, my brother, love you dearly, and always will. And Jess, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and speaking to you, even if it's just on these streams or the odd message on your channel or occasionally on WhatsApp. Everyone in the chat, have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing. Like I said, just reach out if you can, if you want to. If anyone does reach out to Jim and Kate and they ask for my number, carte blanche, give it out. And have a good day, everyone else.
Thanks
love
as
you
always,
all.
Brian. Yeah, we
Always
love you.
a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye-bye.
I won't go on much longer because of Ben streaming. But Jess, is it you won't open up because you don't trust anyone enough, or is it like, are you like Kuva where you're worried you're burdening someone?
Yeah. Well, that was just doctors on the phone, actually. That's a bit of good news. I've started me on some tablets for epilepsy. I've got to go pick them up today. So that's pretty.
Well, that's
That's
good.
a positive thing. Look, this lady comes in my channel. That's her son who's 14. Now he's really bad. And even he sent me a care package, come down with his dad. And he's only 14, bless him. That's Carol who's in chat. I'm more comfortable listening to everybody else, helping everybody else out. I just don't help myself. I don't unload to anybody. I just keep it all in. It's just how I am. I'll sit and listen to everybody 12, 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Just don't listen to myself. I won't open up to anybody. I'm scared to open up to anybody. I don't want to burden them with what I've got. Just keep it all. I just got a brave face on it. So I go on the stream. Everybody thinks it's all happy go lucky. Come off and then you go back to real life. It just is what it is. I'm just I think I've been through that much in my life now that I just don't trust anybody anymore. That it's just easier. I just feel like it's a weakness. I don't know. I don't feel confident about myself, so I take great pleasure in everybody else. But I always leave myself to last, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Because there is people that do that. But look, someone like me, right? You can't burden me with it because I would feel honoured if someone spoke to me about certain things that they didn't want people to know about, and if I could help them. So there is people out there that wouldn't feel burdened by it, So you got to remember that as well. There is people out there that want to help you for you.
I mean, if people like Jimbo's been through so much in his life. When I say he could write a book, I reckon he could write a trilogy. The amount he's been through, from the abuse when he was a child to all sorts of things. But you'd never know it to look at him now. And the people that knew him back then would never believe Jim's the same guy that was around back then, because you was a wild, crazy human who was drunk, drugs, a lot.
I think a lot of that comes with age, Kate. That you can sort things out better. The older you get, the wiser you get. I think that a lot of that comes with age, that I've been able to sort a lot of it out in my head.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, all we can say, we can't force anyone to talk, anyone to open up. We can just offer to be there. Jess's channel
and you
is
wouldn't
fantastic.
be burdening me. I can tell you that now. There's no burden coming on there.
Listener, he's got more life experience than most people will have if they're 100. He's lived an unbelievable life, but he is, brilliant. Kuva is, like I say, Kuva's been magnificent as well with me, and Bobby K. There's so many people, and Jess, your channel. I know Kuva said that you have WhatsApp groups and things for people that are struggling. I didn't even know that till Kuva told me. So there is so much. There is so many people out there in this community, which at times can be a toxic cesspit of a place, YouTube. but there is a lot of good in there too. Rosie, please do put your channel in there. You're putting everyone else's. Please put your channel in as well. But
and look, Kate, I'm going to say as well, right? As I said, that it comes with age and stuff. But I had a time where I had to ring Bobby Kay and chat to Bobby Kay about something.
Yeah,
because I was kind of lost with something. So, and he helped me out massively. So, it's just, you just got to reach out. I'm not worried about reaching out. If I've got a problem and I'm really stuck with it, I will reach out to somebody. But I know there's a lot of people that can't do that. But you have to make that step if you want to push on,
It definitely does help unburdening. It's horrible when you do it, but once you've done it, I can't even tell you the relief it was once I'd told Jim and stopped lying to him and lying to myself and that sort of thing. It's like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders, and it's just a time I've got to try and forgive myself for things that I've done. And I know you say, Jim, you're not ashamed, but it took you a long time to forgive yourself. You used to constantly say to me,
It did take me a long time to forgive myself because I hurt a lot of people. But I tried to put the wrongs right, and if people didn't let me do that, and then I look at it, that's down to them. I can only do what I can do to try and reverse things, and I did try and reverse it with the people that I hurt. And I think really there was only one person that wouldn't accept it. So but I look at it, look, I can only do what I do. You can't change what you've done. You can only try and make it better and try and explain to the people why you did it and that you're sorry for doing it. And if they can't accept that, and then I look at it, well, that's their problem, not my problem. Maybe it's the wrong way, but that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to end it because I know Benji's going to stream. Kuva, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. It really meant the world to me as well that you chose this channel to come on and share it. You're such a massive part of YouTube community. I know that. Forget the football; it's insignificant crap at the end of the day. But we absolutely love you to death. You're like, well, you're Uncle Kuva Bear to me. Anything you want to say before we finish up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jim loves me more because he wanted to give me an invite when you didn't. But no, it's that constant message that people need to know. You are never alone.
Yeah.
If you're alone, it is by choice. There are people out there who will listen.
Exactly.
Some people, Samaritans have always been great because they'll either sit there and just listen to you while you're offloading everything you want to say, or sometimes you can just ring up just to listen to them talk to you because you don't feel like talking. You just want a friendly, reassuring voice. There's lots of people out there. Support groups are all great. These ones on the fan channels are all brilliant. But at the end of the day, make sure there's a purpose to it as well. If you know people definitely need help, just give them a little nudge towards, go and talk to your doctor. Go and talk to your doctor. I'll stress again, the most important step you can ever make, because both mental health and physical health, he or she will have all of the answers for you. If they can't fix it themselves, they can put you onto specialists who can. It's not easy and it doesn't always work at first, but you have to keep plugging away. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the people that love you to do it. And when you're at that absolute bottom, and I know Jess is round about that right now, that's the hardest time to find the energy to do it. So don't ever doubt yourself, Jess, when you question if you got the strength to do some things, because you are one of the strongest characters I've ever met. What's going on there? There's stuff Jess hasn't told me about. Doesn't need to. I just know she's going through more than she lets on, and what she's told everybody openly, and done a fantastic stream on her channel where she's just telling everybody what's going on in her life and what the channel means to her and what's happened on the channel and the abuse she's getting and the the nasty comments and jibes every day. Getting through all that and still finding a way to be around for people is some character. You're too important to people to give up, Jess, and you'll get it paid back in dividends as soon as you get on that road to recovery. And I think good news today. What did I say about little tiny steps at a time?
Yeah.
Just give yourself those opportunities. And sometimes you can't move forward. Sometimes you just have to plant your feet and just stand there and take it all for a while. That's the hard part. When you cannot see that step forward, just realize that doesn't mean you have to go backwards. Just hold your ground. It will get better if you give yourself the chance. And it all comes down to talking to people.
100%, Cooves. Rosie just gifted a membership that went to you, Coover. So see, good things happen to good people. So thank you, Rosie, for gifting Coover a membership.
Rosie's channel is a form of therapy. Seriously,
exactly.
Pretty lady making awesome food with some
wearing
nice music
sexy
in the background.
shoes. And wearing sexy shoes as well with her nice legs. You know, what can I say? Jess, anything you want to say?
Yeah, more or less what Coover said, but I'm my own worst enemy. But if anybody ever needs to reach out, I'm always here for everybody. Might not reach out for myself, but for anybody else that needs to talk or needs anything, I'm always here. On screen, off screen, I'm always here to help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Lynn says your program's been going an hour or so, and there's been plenty of people in the chat have reached out. However, with Jess, she needs to reach out and look after herself so she can help others. That will come with time. Jess, you'll get to a point where you'll be ready. I'm convinced of it. And I've got to say from personal experience, Coover's a wonderful person to reach out to. He's so kind and non-judgmental in any way. And Jimbo, of course, is the same. But I know you and Cooves are particularly close, and he is a big old bear. We love Coover Bear. So he's always someone good to reach out to. But when you get there, you'll know. That's all I can say. There's no point in pressuring you. You'll just know when it's time and you want to reach out. But Jim, anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, this is for Jess, right? I want to tell you something, Jess. I was in a place, right, where the only person on this planet said that I could get back was Kate. Everybody else said he's gone. He's going to be dead. Even the doctor said I'd be dead in 6 months. And look at me now. That was 20 years ago. So there is always light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you just got to find it.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. But it's always, you know, when you're ready, Jim, you're the same. You weren't ready for a long time, and then you were ready and you got sorted and what have you. But you will get there, Jess, I'm sure. You've got a lot of good people that love you to bits. So
I was just going to say that, Kate. There's a lot of people that like you, Jess. All of us on here think the world of you, right? I mean, you had me in tears last week. I wasn't in tears for anything. Is that I felt?
No, I was sobbing today, and Jim never even shed a tear. So what can I say about that?
I might have had one, Kate. So there's a lot of people that like you, Jess. So don't ever let it get that bad where you can't call one of us or reach out to one of us. You've got Coover there. Obviously, you're really close with Coover. So just don't let that tunnel fucking close up.
No, there is a light there somewhere. A massive thank you to Vindaloo and to Shemtan and to Spurs GCTV and to El Dante for donating. A massive thank you to everyone that's watched. Lynn, it's been really interesting hearing your perspective as well as someone who's worked in mental health for a long time. So I appreciate that. As Rosie said, everyone thinks the world of you, Jess. You're a good egg. You can't say higher than that. And Carol says, my son thinks the world of Jess, as do I, and my son hates everyone. To be honest,
that's
there, aren't they? Yeah. And look, that should tell you that your self-worth, that should give you a boost that you've made an impact on people's lives. So look, thanks everyone for watching. I know it's not the easiest stream. I feel absolutely exhausted after that, but then I always do when I've had a good cry. But we will do another one probably just after Christmas, but we will be doing streams over Christmas for anyone. You know, if you're on your own, feel free to come in.
And New Year.
And New Year, yeah. But just be kind to each other. Our email address is on our community page. You can find us all on Twitter. And yeah, just be kind to each other and be kind to yourself at the end of the day. If your car's broken, you take it for an MOT. So if you're feeling broken, maybe it's time to go and speak to a GP or someone and try and get yourself fixed. But thanks again, everyone, for watching. And yeah.
Giving opinions with no regret, smashing the top bins, back in the onion net, talking the talk with Kate and Jim, and walking the walk, just listen in. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mix and transfer news, it's what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jimbo always keeps a positive spin, while Kate's Mickey has a name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like Lenny stop robbing, or she's just flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. The perfect match, you just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match, you just got to latch onto that perfect match.